What's up, everybody? My name's Chance, and today we're going to be refocusing the channel into a completely new direction. Instead of doing our custom, crazy, super original decks 7 days a week, and then our budget decks 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going to be focusing in on the top tier decks 7 days a week, as I'm really enjoying Ranked, and I never really stopped enjoying it. I just found a lot of decks that I wanted to create and sort of took a break unintentionally from Ranked. Anyways, we're going to be diving back into it. So 7 days a week now you can find the top tier competitive decks. We're going to be focusing on best of one, trying to just climb our way through that. And the reason we're doing best of one is it actually does allow room for combo decks and for some sort of off-kilter decks to survive and thrive, due to the fact that you don't have to worry about getting sideboarded against, right? Anyways, as we're diving back into this, we're going to be rating the decks, top tier, sort of top tier, tier 1, 2, 3, whatever, right? So, of course, diving into best of one today, we're diving into the Gruul color scheme, because this is by far going to be the best and easiest deck to play to get you into Mythic, to climb rank, to just in general beat down on the opponent, whether it be for daily wins or, like I said, in rank. So, diving into the deck and everything that it's about, essentially you're focusing on two things: landfall and adventure cards. Now, that's for the early game. The late game, you'll have the plays arise and you'll be very consciously aware of the direction you should be taking. But for the early game, you want to be focusing on your Edgewall Innkeepers, you want to be focusing on your Brushfire Elementals, and your Kazandu Mammoths. Now, you also have Lovestruck Beast, but that's what I'm sort of coupling in with Edgewall Innkeeper, right? If you have Edgewall, you want to be going for those adventure cards. If you don't hit the Edgewall, go for the other aggro that you have in the deck. Go for the Brushfire, go for the Robber, and let them sort of carry you to victory in an aggressive sense rather than in a card advantage sense, right? Because the nice thing about Gruul is you can hit them hard and fast with the Embercleave, with the Robbers, with the Rimrocks, blah, 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 blah. You can also hit them in the mid game with the Great Henge, gaining life, drawing cards, adding counters, getting more creatures out every single turn than them, and then just sort of overwhelming them. Now, we do have 2 copies of Ember's Shieldbreaker. I think this is a great card for best of one. It helps you to destroy the opponent Gruul decks, right? The Great Henges, the Embercleaves, but it also gets rid of the Soulcool Serpents that you sort of see pop up here and there. Helps get rid of the Glass Caskets that you'll see sort of pop up here and there. The Maul of the Skyclaves, right? So this card is really good, and when you use the adventure card of it, you're going to be so happy that you have it in the deck. And then outside of that, 2 mana for a 2/1, draws you a card off the Edgewall, draws you a card off the Great Henge, helps reduce the cost of Embercleave. All in all, for two slots in your deck, I feel like it's super worthwhile. Also, only an uncommon, so very cheap for everybody to get. Rimrock Knight, great when it comes to the Embercleave, great when it comes to best of one, as it allows you to get in that extra damage and the opponent not to know, oh, hey, he has a buffer in the deck, right? Also, it procs the Edgewall, and it's a 2 mana 3/1, so even better than the Shieldbreaker in some regards. Obviously, Rimrock can't block, so you need to be a little aware of that if you're looking at your defenders and swinging in and thinking about the swing back from your opponent. Robber of the Rich, I don't think this is a card you want 4 of in. If you could guarantee that you're going to play first every single game, sure, run 4 copies of Robber. If you're going to play it in best of 3 where you can sideboard it out, sure, throw in 4 copies. But in best of 1 where you can't change the deck, you can't edit it, and you may end up going second, I think 2 copies of Robber is perfectly fine. It does help you against the rogues, as it has the reach, and it has the haste, which is always nice against most any mid to late game deck. Having a haste creature, you can get it down, immediately swing in, immediately, have a creature to take the Embercleave, right? And then, of course, not to mention, you get to steal some from your opponent that you may end up, finding useful, or may just be useful in the fact that you're taking it from your foe. Of course, Brushfire Elemental and Kazandu are cards you're going to want to play and then play your lands thereafter, and obviously things like Fable Passage really helps you to increase the damage hugely. Now, the nice thing with Brushfire Elemental, if you hit a Fable Passage, you can very easily hit a turn 4 Great Henge, right? Brushfire, Fabled, pluses it up by 4, makes it a 5/5, and that reduces the cost of Great Henge by, 5, right? Kazandu can actually make the Great Henge only costs 2 mana, which is insane, because that can be a turn 4 2 mana Great Henge, which leaves you with 4 mana left over, which is, a Lovestruck adventure side and the actual cost, or an Edgewall and a Lovestruck. So make sure that before you just sort of dive into, okay, I want to play this game aggressively, you're checking to make sure that you don't have the resources to sort of go aggressive into the Great Henge, because having the Great Henge, while it may not seem like an aggressive play, getting more and more creatures down, healing up that much, and drawing more cards can essentially allow you to get to the Embercleave and make it cost a lot less, right? Anyways, we have Bonecrusher Giant, only 2 of. There's a common misconception with Bonecrusher that it will solve all your issues, that it will be your kingdom come, so to speak. That's wrong. 2 mana to deal 2 damage, it's not actually super fantastic if you were to just separate that into its own card, but because it's attached to a 4/3, it is very, very nice. But that 2 damage won't take out a lot of the rogues, right? A lot of those flyers, you know, the mono black one and the Demir one, I can't think of their names, but y'all know what I'm talking about. They don't even get scathed by Bonecrusher. The 0/4 walls that people put up with the Birth of Meletis, they don't get touched by Bonecrusher. Bonecrusher doesn't hurt Yorion that much, you know? So there's a lot of decks and a lot of cards that this card actually doesn't do well against. So I think as a 2 of, you get a 4/3, you get to deal 2 damage back to the opponent if they select it, and you're leaving 2 slots for Anax, which again, we're playing best of 1, not best of 3, so you don't need versatility, you don't need efficiency in any manner other than the fact that you're trying to win that one singular game. And, well, Anax cheese, so to speak, is a great way to win almost any game. You throw an Embercleave onto an Anax, and you're guaranteed a 5/3 double striker trampler, right? Which is really nice. Add anything else to the board, a Bonecrusher, a Shieldbreaker, Rimrock, Robber, whatever, and now you have a 6, 7, 8. You know, the damage just gets so insane. We have 1 copy of Phoenix of Ash and 2 copies of Ox of Agonas to help us deal with the rogues while also having cards that we can play based off of the mill, right? You don't want to continuously be milled and have nothing to show for it. So Ox can allow you to draw cards. Also, it's a pretty big creature. Phoenix, flyer. If you want to up the number of Phoenixes, which I don't really recommend, as Phoenix is mostly only good in the scenario of the rogues, now it is nice to equip Embercleave to it if your opponent's playing a lot of ground creatures and you can't really get through them. I would recommend probably cutting either a Rimrock Knight or an Anax, as this is sort of within the same niche ability slot, if that makes sense, of being surprise damage, right? And you only need so many elements of a certain aspect in order to make a deck, you know, feel good in that manner, right? Anyways, Lovestruck Beast, common staple in these decks. 3 mana for a 5/5, great. 1 mana on the flip side, you get the 1/1 human, which is a great blocker. All around fantastic. Kazandu, we've talked about. Ox, we have talked about. Embercleave, we've talked about extensively. But of course, this 6 mana card that allows you to give +1/+1 double strike and trample is fantastic. Also comes down at flash speed, so never forget that. If you're playing against a rogues deck and you're in that mid-range area, what you could always do is not cast the Embercleave down in an offensive manner, but rather wait for your opponent's turn, cast it down on their turn, maybe when they tap out, or maybe at the end of their end step, they'll counter magic you, obviously counter your Embercleave, you'll be a little boo-hooed, but come your turn, you'll be able to play, you know, Great Henge if you have it in hand, or other creatures, because they will have already cast their counter magic on their turn instead of yours, right? So the flash speed Embercleave's play, I feel like it's not utilized enough to throw the opponents off guard. We have 1 copy of Turn Timber to help us find other cards in this deck, and then of course 3 copies of the Great Henge to do Great Henge stuff. Obviously, you can play 4 copies of Embercleave and 4 copies of the Great Henge, but you have a little bit of a diminishing return when you're talking about these legendaries. And since you're playing both Embercleave and the Great Henge, I feel like 3 off of both gives you, 6 cards to potentially hit and end out the game with. That should be more than enough. Now, if you're in best of 1 and you're truly trying to climb, you should have the pathways. The temples, I will admit that is a preference thing. If you're playing an aggro deck, having tap lands is not necessarily the best, so you might just want to cut all the temples, throw in more lands, and call it a day. But the Fableds, the Fableds are beautiful for your Brushfire and Kazandu. I absolutely recommend them. If you don't have Fabled already, I don't know what you're doing. Anyways, hope you've all been enjoying this deck tech breakdown. If you have, please be sure to leave a like down below, leave a comment in the comment section, subscribe if you're new here and you want to see more content, or you just want to help support the channel through a completely free means. We are nearing 10,000, which is incredible. We have new decks that come out daily, and of course new decks, two new decks that come out Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We're still working out the time kinks because I'm trying to find a good time slot for everybody as well as for myself. So, anyways, all that being said and out of the way, we are going to dive into the matches and the Magic. And remember, if you're enjoying the content and you have friends that also enjoy Magic, be sure you're sharing these videos out. Be sure you're sharing the channel out so more people can find it and come in and enjoy the content alongside you. Anyways, into the Magic. Alrighty, Wazak. Wazak? We'll keep this. It seems okay, I can bolt in the turn Timber, get down Edgewall, bolt in the other thing, get down Robber, but that is a lot of health to be hemorrhaging. So instead, we're just going to go for the Temple. I'm going to hedge my bets and go for the Robber first. We don't have any current adventure cards in hand, so no need for us to push for that Edgewall, right? Opponent has 6 cards in hand. We should be able to draw one with Robber here. Got their Ooze. Ooze is another good one that could be added to the deck, but you know, you got to make cuts somewhere. And of course, we'll adjust the deck as the day goes on, as you should as well, as there's never truly a way of knowing what the meta is going to be like for that day. So you kind of have to play accordingly and you know, adjust properly. Opponent's definitely got a Bonecrusher Giant, so I don't really want to play Edgewall. How many cards? They still have 6 cards. If I bolt this down, we can get down Mammoth. We're definitely going to bolt that down. I think we're going to swing in. They don't have a Bonecrusher? That's a little crazy. We could play Edgewall plus their Ooze. If they don't have a Bonecrusher, I feel like I should take advantage of that, so we'll take the Ooze. Helps build out our board without committing anything from our hand. Now, argument could have been made to just go for Kazandu, given Kazandu gives us the potential to hit Great Henge on turn 4, so if we draw into a Great Henge, I'm going to be like, But if we hit any adventure cards, then obviously this is better, so. And we do have more adventure cards in the deck than Great Henges, so that's sort of how I'm weighing that, right? You can go for the riskier, bigger play, or you can go for the smaller, safer play. We got another Robber. Now, I could actually swing in with my Robber and potentially take out their Kazandu. So I'm going to play this Fabled down. And we're going to swing in with the Robber. And with the Ooze? I think and with the Ooze. Let's see what we hit here. Elemental, alrighty. So, of course, they'll block there. We're giving up our Robber, but we're taking out both their creatures. So I think that's a fair play, so to say. So, opponent's board is clear. We have another Robber in hand. We also still have a Kazandu. Let's see, and now that we have some cards in the graveyard, our Ooze can start exiling. Okay. We're about to see the Lovestruck from them. I could see that happening, as that's a solid defender. Or maybe, okay. I was gonna say, or maybe some removal. Still no adventure cards. That's alright. So if I rush the Robber here, we might get something playable. What do they have over here? We do have their Brushfire, right? So we could play their Brushfire plus our Robber. Shatterskull. I think we're just gonna go for the Brushfire. Another land. I don't think we need another land. We have enough for the Ox now, and honestly I might play the Ox next turn and say forget the Mammoth, but we'll see. I haven't been specifically avoiding the Mammoth, it's just, you know, if I can potentially steal stuff from them, avoid them getting the Great Henge or Embercleave or whatever, and I take theirs, then obviously I think that's better. We'll see though. They could have a Bonecrusher or a Lovestruck come down this turn. They still have 2 mana left over. Okay, and they get the card draw. Kind of bad for us, given we haven't gotten... well, we gotten card draw from them, but we haven't drawn any cards for ourselves yet, really. Rimrock, that's interesting. It won't quite put the Robber to the point of taking out the Lovestruck. Could hardcast Rimrock plus Kazandu. I am for sure going to hardcast Rimrock. Now, Lovestruck. Lovestruck's really good, but we're going to go for the Mammoth. Now, we got a solid board of, well, a lot of creatures, but, of course, if the opponent ends up hitting a Great Henge or an Embercleave, it's still going to be a little rough for us to deal with that, right? But also, we're getting into our adventure cards, so, you know, maybe now we have a little bit of our own stickability, fighting regard. I don't know what you want to call it. Anyways, with Zach, show me what you got. Don't hold back. Nothing. They're seriously contemplating this play. They have 6 mana, which is enough for obviously swing in Embercleave, right? It's only 4. So if they reserve those 2, no, they still... I guess they didn't want to double tap red, but they still don't have enough to attack with Embercleave, right? So that's good for us. They don't have enough for Great Henge as they double tap their green. Brushfire, not too terrible for us, actually. They already played their land. Edgewall Innkeeper, my oh my, they just keep giving us the best stuff to not play the Ox, you know? And I'm not going to play the Ox if it's, like, going to discard my good stuff, so... Let's do what we know we should do. Flood that board. Oh, there it is. There it is. Alright. Nah, we still can't attack. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to, you know? They have the 5/5 blocker, it's just gonna block. And granted, we could sort of overwhelm them. It's not gonna be enough overwhelming damage to destroy them. So essentially, we're just gonna be losing creatures, right? That's the beauty of being on defensive. You have the foreknowledge of seeing where everything's going, and then you sort of get to pick and choose, right? So they could take Lovestruck, block Kazandu, take Bonecrusher, block Robber, you know, and then maybe trade out Brushfire for Edgewall or something, right? Like there's just way too many plays. So them hitting a Fabled here is terrible for us, but if we can get down the Great Henge, I will feel a lot safer. I just worry about them having the Embercleave already in hand and sort of surprising me with it. So we also don't have a land in hand, which means I can't just count on the Kazandu being a 5 health creature. So things might get a little dicey if we see an all-in swing here. They're gandering our edge walls. I like that word, by the way. Gander, it just sounds... Oh, that hurt a little bit. They still have 3 mana left over, which means they would only need to swing in with 3 creatures and have... Oh, okay, never mind. They took out both of our edge walls, which is certainly not beautiful for us. But we're still going to get down the Great Henge, so that is beautiful. Now, they could have old buddy, old Emberth Shieldbreaker, which would be horrible given we're not getting, you know, maximum effectiveness out of this one here, but... I think we do swing in with Lovestruck, because there is no combination of blocking here that we don't mind, right? Maybe the double block Bonecrusher Brushfire, but... Even that, I say, bring it. Alright? Yeah, let's smash. Because this forces them to either trade out with it, lose a blocker, or just go down to 6 life, which, honestly, considering your opponent has 3 cards in hand, a Great Henge down, and 5 mana on the board, you may not want to go down to 6 life, you know? Of course, if I had if I had an Embercleave for every moment like this, you know, we would have already won the game. So we'll see. They are going to go for the double block. Interesting. Do we want to take out the Bonecrusher or the Brushfire? Brushfire has larger potential. How many Fables have they seen? They've already seen 2? Well, then I'll take my chances. We'll take out the Bonecrusher, because that'll be more effective, right? Brushfire requires them to hit a land to be, you know, a solid creature. Bonecrusher, pretty much always a solid creature, and it's always going to cost us something to take it out, so let's just, yeah, do a little tradesy here. Alrighty, Wizik. I don't know if it's like Wiza-C or Wizak, right? I just feel like I'm saying the name wrong. I don't mean any offense if I am. Anyways, we have 2 Oxes in hand, which means when we go to play one, it'll discard the other, which means we can escape that one. And it's not a legendary, so we can have 2 Oxes on the board at the same time. It requires us to have 8 cards, 8 other cards, so... if we hit a land, I'm definitely slamming the Anax, slamming the Ox, right? Oh, but it'd have to be red mana, because we only have 3 red mana as is right now, and we need 4 for... we need a 4 for a play like that. I realize sometimes my southern accent, my drawl, if you will, makes words sound like other words, or makes words sound like, you know, nothing, like dribble, drabble. So I do apologize about that, but, you know. Shatterskull again, taking out a Brushfire and my my Rimrock. Bruh, how you getting all these, where are you getting all these Shatterskulls from? You got so much land, it's not even funny. It's not even funny. So they are taking an interesting swing in here. We blocked the 5/5 with the 1/1. I think we let the 3 damage go through. I'm feeling pretty safe in my decision with that. Embercleave? Yeah, I mean, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt for sure. Thank goodness we have the Great Henge to gain us some health back, right? But I'm happy that I didn't commit hella blockers to it. Now we just need to see our Great Henge now. Or Embercleave, I mean. Didn't see it, but we do get to destroy their Embercleave, so that's good. That's definitely a bright side of things. Now we have 1, 2. We only have 2 red mana, which means I'm either casting... Alright, well, let's go for the Ox then. We'll get rid of the Anax, and the other Ox will go into our discard, and this way we'll have a solid size creature. Draw several cards here. Land, that's good for the Kazandu and the Brushfire, right? So we do actually have 9 points of damage swinging in here, or 11, I mean, which means that we'll have to block with the Edgewall. Edgewall has to block Kazandu more than likely. Swinging in with Robber doesn't make any sense for us here. We're just swinging with these 2. Brushfire for sure connects. Edgewall for sure blocks Kazandu. Yes. So we're down to 6. They're down to 7. This is a close game. We hope that they don't top deck an Embercleave, obviously. But aside from that, I think we got them, right? I think we may have them here. Unless, of course, they hit the Embercleave, in which case, ouch. Let's see, though. I can understand. They want to take their time. Vivian. Oh, snap. Alright, well, Vivian's interesting. Not quite an Embercleave, but, you know, it does add more bodies to their board guaranteed every turn. Of course, we can add more bodies to our board guaranteed every turn for the time being. So, So Embercleave Rimrock Knight is a really good combination, right? But I also want to play more creatures down. Do I play the Ember Shieldbreaker? How much would this cost me as well? So if I'm swinging in with 4, this only costs 2 red. Rimrock costs 1 red, which means I actually can't spend any of our red, so we have to cast the Kazandu then, yeah, right? Yeah. Oh, another land. Happy I hit that. As soon as I played the Kazandu, I was like, wait a minute, I actually should have just played Kazandu down as a land. And then it happened anyway, so we're happy. We're swinging all in. They know we got it. They have to know we got it. And this is for sure lethal, so. Hell, that's lethal there, which means they have to use Brushfire to block here. Alright, it's GG. Whoo, what's that? We got him. We could have plussed up the Rimrock on the Kazandu. It didn't really matter what order we did there, but a Kaiko? I'm probably saying that wrong. I don't think this is a keepable hand. As much as I'm loving everything the game's trying to give me here, it's a little too greedy. That's a bit rough for sure. Yeah, okay. We'll keep 5. Who says we can't make it on 5? Is that what I want? This comes down turn 1, green mana. Turn 2, this. With this. Turn 3, I can play this and that. See, the thing with this is, since we already have a lower hand, there's something about it, a certain pizzazz, right? But the Brushfire definitely has potential. I'm going for this. If we're gonna start out with the lower hand, I feel safe in keeping a robber. So we don't get to go first, which is very unfortunate for us, but you gotta make do. Gotta make do with what you got. Probably shouldn't have played that Fabled into the green mana and blah, 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 blah. I know. It does kind of give the opponent the Gruul, and they've only used Stone Cool into a Rimrock. It's a little strange. Like, wouldn't you rather just play the Rimrock down? You'd think. Someone may think. Anyways, because we drew cards and because they used that Rimrock, our robber plan actually just got thwarted. Completely and utterly thwarted. Now, drawing the other Kazandu means we could play a Kazandu down tapped and have the mana, of course, for another, well, Kazandu. Fabled's really good as well. So now I guess it's a matter of preference and opinion, right? I think we're definitely playing you down. I think it's wise to drop a Kazandu. Shatterskull can save your ass. You know, it is a good. Oh man, we're getting slaughtered here. It's all right. So they swing in with the 1/1. I was about to say we definitely block that. Definitely. So part of me wants to go Shatterskull, take out Edgewall and Stonecoil. We still have the 1/1 to block against their 4/3, right? Granted, we miss out on the Kazandu Fabled Passage, massive damage, but we're also avoiding them getting insane card advantage over us. Because right now we're definitely on the defensive, so not letting them get further ahead, I feel like that's a good safe bet for us. So no attacks. We'll leave the 1/1 back. And you gotta remember they already started with the card advantage, right? Of 3. We started with what, 4 cards, 5 cards, something like that. It's a little detrimental, to say the least. When you don't play board wipes, and we know Gruul, you know, board wipes, so we're essentially seeing if we can be faster than ourselves while handicapped, and that's, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's a hard task to accomplish. Let's get down to Lovestruck Beast. It's a 5/5 blocker, so you know, enough to take out their stuff if they don't have another land. I'm thinking they have Embercleave here. I'm thinking we're about to believe they have the cleave. No, just a Bonecrusher? Okay, I gotta say I'm much happier to see just a Bonecrusher than an Embercleave. Trade now, it's not the world's best, but it works. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna drop that Kazandu as a land. We're gonna drop the Ox. This way we only have to discard 1 card. We get to draw 3. It's yeah, it's okay. The Ox can block, and so there's that. But we're getting low here. We're getting dangerously low. I either block here or I block here. I can't accept the fact of going down to 9. Going down to 8's really hard for me because if they have a Bonecrusher, like, that's it, you know? But I also don't like the idea of like trading out my creature and not taking out any of their creatures. So we do what we must. We do what we must. So we can get down Anax plus Phoenix here, but if they hit a single land, we're toast. We are toast-arinos. Not to be confused with Totinos, the party pizza. Delicious. Oh no. You never like to see an all-in swing. Let me tell you that right now. No Embercleave. Well, I was almost 10,000% sure. We're surviving. Unless they hit a Bonecrusher, in which case... Ouch. Scavenging goose. Alright. Well, they're going to exile my Ox, my Phoenix, which is very unfortunate, because I really wanted that Ox. Whoa, what? I mean, if you exile enough cards, yeah, I guess I can't bring the Ox back, but... it would make more sense to exile the Ox. There you go. Yeah. Alright, so we need a miracle. Lovestruck Beast. I mean, it's miracle-ish, right? So, I think we have to play Lovestruck plus Phoenix. I don't want any more land, that's for sure. Right? Just hard cast Lovestruck, hard cast Phoenix. Aha, I'll beat you to it. Exile my own creatures. Now, these little satyrs can't block, but they do a nice job of allowing our Lovestruck Beast to attack. So we will still swing in as they are, you know, damage. We won't swing in any more past these two, but for the 1 extra damage, you never know. 2 extra damage, you never know. So Lovestruck dies here, but we do get to take out their Brushfire, or we just block Scavenging, take out Brushfire. Now obviously if they have Embercleave, we're toast, but if they have Embercleave, we're toast anyways. We're surviving. 1 life. How many Bonecrushers have they seen? Just 1. Oh man, that's terrifying. Turn Timber. Can we cast this? I can hard cast the Turn Timber. I don't think it's going to save us, actually. In fact, I think it might be the wrong answer. Ox. Oh, Ox is really good for us, right? Draw 3. Edgewall, we don't really have any interaction with. Anax doesn't. Like, we're not. Yeah, Ox. Draw me 3 cards. You know. It's not the world's worst. I am going to go ahead and get down the Edgewall. We're not attacking, right? We're not attacking. Oh, man. They've got to be so mad. They're like, come on, bro, just concede. You're dead. But, ooh, you just wait. If I hit that Great Henge, you know, 1 goes to 3, 3 goes to 5, 5 goes to 7, and hey, we're kind of back in healthy range. This is insane. No! Oh no, that's GG. Alright, you got me. They hit 3 Shatterskulls this game, didn't they? No, wait, they only have 1 in... What? Well, I was thinking of the first game. Oh no. I was like, damn, that's so many Shatterskulls. Alright, they deserve that. That was good. Pill of X. Pile of X. I'm going to keep this hand in light of what happened last game and the fact that we have 2 Edgewalls, a Robber, and a Bonecrusher. We actually have a lot of low-cost plays here to utilize this only 2 mana, right? And if we see 1 single land, which I'm sure we will at some point. Now, typically here, I would say use the Lovestruck and then continue from there. But since we have 2 Edgewalls, I'm going to say play the Edgewall, play the play the other Edgewall, and then follow it up just with a Lovestruck. Don't worry about the little 1/1, because that gives you some explosive card draw. What is wrong with my mouth this morning? Heartless Act. But it cost him 3 life, so, like, was it worth it? I guess is the question. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Yeah, it gives you explosive card draw. You get it 2 1/1s and then the 5/5 down. It's just good value, you know? So, We ended up hitting a land, which means we ended up being able to go Edgewall plus Lovestruck there anyways. Now remember, if you blow all your removal on my creatures here, you're not going to have removal for the big ones. Hint, hint, wink, wink. You might not want to do that. Because, of course, if we can get down Lovestruck, we're but a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Great Henge. Actually, you know, a hop, skip, and a jump away, that makes things sound very far. You get a hop, skip, and jump to get there. My, oh my. Alright, so obviously we just slammed the Lovestruck here, draw the card. Still no land. That's, you know, I think we got 28 in the deck, but obviously some of those are tapped. I believe we have 6 or 7 tap lands potentially. Obviously the Fabled's become untapped now. So we have like 21 untapped lands. We played 3, so we have roughly 18 untapped lands still in the deck. 18 out of 49. Yeah, that doesn't go evenly, but roughly you could say 21 into 49 is like, what, 3/7 or something like that. Anyway, you know what, we hit the land. That's what we were trying to do. Now it's gonna have to wait till next turn for the Great Henge, or the Great Henge is gonna have to wait till next turn. You know what I'm saying? So what do we do here? We can Bonecrusher the 1/1. Their Lovestruck can attack. We could swing in with our Lovestruck, but it won't have an advantage over their Lovestruck. We could also just play down another Lovestruck, gain the card draw. Either way, we know this land's entering, and I don't think it... I don't think it's going to be on this Brushfire this turn. You know, I don't think it's going to be buffing up the Brushfire. I don't know, we're thinking. I think this might be a matter of going bigger, harder, faster. AKA, play the Lovestruck, draw the Embercleave. We may not actually even play the Great Henge next turn. We have enough damage on board to swing in with 2 Lovestrucks, throw an Embercleave. Swing in with 2 Lovestrucks plus a 1/1, throw an Embercleave for 3. You know, if we can hit another land, potentially get down another creature. Or we just go for the Great Henge, goes for a mid to late game kind of play. Opponent's playing Jund though. We got to think that they might be better equipped for the mid to late game. Terror of the Peaks, that's terrifying, right? Because if they can get down the good old Beanstalk Giant. So getting rid of Terror would be nice. We did hit the other land, which means we could go Brushfire, Embercleave. Deal a lot of damage. We go this, that. We could play Bonecrusher. But they're getting so much damage with that. I really want to Embercleave them, so I think that's the route we're going. We're going Brushfire, land, Cleave Town. We keep the other ones back, right? Yeah, because we can't use that 1 mana for anything. They block Terror to Brushfire. We'll send Embercleave to Brushfire. Alright, so we're dealing 3 here. If I Embercleave this guy, we'll deal 5 through that guy and then 6 more. I think this is lethal. I think they got a little greedy with their blocks. Yeah. GG. Pile of X. Pill of X? I don't know. Anyway, so we ended up going, what, 2-1? With Gruul Smash. And honestly, the second game that we lost, we mulliganed down to 4 and ended up facing a very similar version of our own deck. So essentially the deck did go 3-0 if you count Gruul beating Gruul, right?